I'd like to give a warm welcome to my viewers in 168 countries. Please subscribe. We have some of the most influential people, including CEOs and world leaders, watching. World Economic Forum, Cannes Lions, Sun Valley, Bilderberg. I also was placed on the world's top business thinkers list back in 2011 for my thought leadership on the yin and yang of leadership. Yes, we got ladies into Augusta. I had a really exciting email this week from one of the world's top global CEOs. He would like me to help address the divide in American politics and bring more unity. As an executive coach and a former executive search consultant who worked for many years in New York, I now broadcast from sunny Naples, Florida. I'm Sandra Rupp. We are the new media, and we are the future. I really enjoyed covering Bilderberg this year. We've been able to get more women invited and also change the demographics in terms of age and ethnicity. Some of my candidates and clients have become very famous CEOs. Wanted to be the president of a television network when I was in business school at Kellogg Northwestern University, and I got on a plane and met all the CEOs of the television networks. I ended up working for a very creative man named Al Massini, who created Entertainment Tonight, Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous, and Star Search. I'm the only one who predicted Trump, Brexit, and Imran Khan. I'm willing to take on a lot of challenges. The first step that we need to do to bridge the American political divide is to have the media be more objective. And we saw that Donald Trump won, the Republican Party won. I grew up with grandparents who on one side were Democrats, but on the other side were Republican. If you look at the media and banking industry, there was a roll-up after Bill Clinton changed some of the laws of all these companies into about 6 corporations, and that actually is one of the issues that we have right now. The media is not necessarily in tune with what the American people think. So it's really important that we get more women who are Republican and moderate thinkers on executive row of all the media companies. That's point one. The key is not to want everyone to think like you do. We need to have things like media and advertising and business decision making made not just in New York and Silicon Valley, but also in places like Florida and Texas and the Midwest, or what some people try and call flyover country. The reality is America has always been based on entrepreneurship, job creation from those hardworking entrepreneurs and people in a lot of different states around the country. So it's so important to have the voices heard from around the country. And so I would encourage my CEOs and world leaders to look to me as a female executive coach. I can do a lot for your executive team to give them new perspective. We really need more women filmmakers, more women directors, more women writers. If you look at the Annenberg research on inclusion, there really hasn't been any change in way too long. The other thing that I've noticed is I don't go to the Hollywood movies anymore. They're too violent. I don't like the language. When we think of women as different than men, then we start to appoint them to our boards, our CEO teams. We start to go to our HR head and say, look, we need to up the compensation for our women to be equal to the men. And we've solved so many problems. So what we don't need is, women or men coming out at World Economic Forum and saying we need to mentor the women. There's nothing wrong with the women, okay? There's plenty of talent for executive row. To get a group of people with diverse thinking around you to come to the best solution, which I learned by attending the #1 business school in the world at the time. I like to work with the smart people who are over at McKinsey and BCG and Booz Allen. Now, the second step is that we want to make sure that we invest in female entrepreneurs. One of the issues, and the Dalai Lama had predicted this, it'll be the Western women who help save this world. One of the problems right now in business is we don't have enough investment in women. So we have all these people in Silicon Valley investing in the boys, but we want them to invest in the ladies. There are a lot of women executives in my generation who have now turned to be entrepreneurs. There really was no more choice in the economic crisis. There weren't enough jobs or projects, so we all became entrepreneurs. And I've released an Amazon video on how to navigate your career in the 21st century. And as I said, we are the future. So I'm excited for all those CEOs to invest in women entrepreneurs. That's so important in the Western countries. And then they can create jobs for the developing world. Because if you talk to a lot of women, they don't want to click on negative headlines anymore. They want to click on positive headlines. I have some great CEOs that I really admire who are working on helping the developing world, getting the women into schools. But once you educate the women, it's also really important to have jobs for them for their lifetime, okay? Not just until they, have a baby or turn 40. The reality is you need to invest in women at all stages of the life cycle, especially given that people are living to be 100. I mean, my grandfather lived to be 103. I stated to World Economic Forum that investing in the feminine leadership style is the largest economic opportunity worldwide. Now, the third thing that needs to happen to bridge this political divide, we need to have more women at Sun Valley. We need to have more women at Davos and World Economic Forum. I've suggested we have Davos in the summertime and have more women invited at that time, because I think it would be fun to be in Switzerland in the summer. The way that we get change at the top is that I work with a CEO, oftentimes a male CEO, and I share with him the idea that we don't want women to be like men. We want to embrace women for who they are. Then we get the men on the team to understand that. Yes, it's very critical to have a female executive coach tell them this. And then we can look for the women who we can put on an executive row and put on their boards. And then we talk to the head of human resources, the EVP of HR, Chief Human Resources Officer, and we rectify any way that women are being held back. Oftentimes in the original negotiations, the offers were not fair or equitable, so we fixed the problems. We fix the problems, and all of a sudden we have a solution. We have a culture of fairness and equity. We have gender parity. I love that term, more so than gender equality. I've never wanted to be like a man. I just wanted to have parity with a man. And once we have that, we create the best cultures in the entire world. I'd like to really thank the CEO who gave me that great question, because I do think that we can bridge this divide. If we value conscious capitalism, if we value sustainability, if we value flourishing business, and we value everyone's political viewpoints and invest in entrepreneurs as well as big companies, many of our problems around poverty will be solved globally. And that will make us all feel better. Let's focus on health, happiness, doing the right thing, integrity. So I invite all my Davos men to come here to Naples, Florida. Let's have it at the Ritz-Carlton. Let's invite some amazing women, and let's get us invested in. Let's get more creativity flowing. I mean, we've done so many amazing things for WPP Group, for Unilever. We've challenged the CEOs of Coca-Cola and Citigroup and many more to add more women to their CEO teams and bring them to World Economic Forum and the major conferences at Cannes Lions. So we're making things happen day by day. Please retain me on LinkedIn for your CEO team. We can do videos, we can interview your leaders and talk about culture change. Look at my website at parthenonadvisors.com. I named my company after a Grecian goddess, Athena. She was the goddess of wisdom and knowledge. She was also the helper of heroes and heroines. Rather than having a higher standard for what a woman needs to be, and rather than wanting to turn a woman into a man, leadership now looks like this. So you want to think of leadership, feminine leadership, as equal to masculine leadership. You need to talk more about the Cannes Lionesses. I'd love to get all of you to invest in my company, because we are the new media. We are a multimedia coaching business, and we are creating a bright future. You can find me on AngelList. Also, watch me on your smart TVs. You can follow me on Twitter. Look for my Davos blog on WordPress. Find me on LinkedIn and Google+, and please stay tuned. We have a wonderful channel here on YouTube. We are the Feminine Leader Voice. And thank you to Saks Off Fifth for this gorgeous little jumpsuit. Very into fashion, loaned me this very expensive belt. Let's make it happen together, and let's create that bright future. I'm Sandra Rupp. I'd like to thank the whole world for watching. Please subscribe on YouTube and stay tuned. Love you all. Love you. Bye.